Hello, my name is Geoffrey Talboy, Superintendent, and I will be providing a strategic plan for improving student achievement to members of the board and community members within the meeting. The purpose for this strategic plan is to establish an improvement process that is district-wide and data-driven. We want to engage a wide range of stakeholders that represent the district, both inside the district facilities and those members of the community, both who are with students in the buildings and those who are in the community. We will align the mission, vision, and strategies to student learning outcomes, as that is our goal, is to improve these outcomes. There is a plan to create a cadence of accountability and success that is structured within a sustainable process. And as UE discusses, the focused effort for decisions and plans to direct what you do and why you do it. And that will be what we are always focused on. The core planning team will consist of the superintendent, representatives from the Board of Education, building principals, building teachers, both elementary and secondary. We will have representatives from the departments of academic services, student services, finance, human resources, communications, and technology. Some of these will be involved to help guide our process, but also to utilize our process, such as recruitment and retainment of staff would go through human resources. Some of our surveys and ways to connect with the community will go through communications. And then most importantly, we will engage parents, community leaders, and other stakeholders who will be involved on the core planning team. We will conduct an environmental scan. This is an internal and external look at our performance as a district, and we'll look at those data points. With this analysis, we will combine our data points and look at how they compare to the trending data and local, state, and national sources. This is a way for us to make sure that we are focusing not just on the current trend, but also on where the trend is leading. We will implement a SWOT analysis: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. This is a way for us to see where we are strong, where we have leverage, where we have areas of concern, what opportunities are out there for us through financial and instructional practices, things like that. And then the threats is what barriers, what problems could arise from where we're going, what challenges could we come into play with, and how do we address those? The data sources will use enrollment trends and student demographics. This will show us who's coming in and who's leaving our district, what they're bringing with them. We'll look at academic achievement, so graduation rates, are standardized and nationally normed test results, and then the grading patterns. Do we see certain dips or spikes at certain times of the year that have a drastic impact on students' performance? And then classroom and building, both the technology outlook, so what technology is currently available and what technology can we implement to improve our practices, and how do our facilities look? Are our facilities up to date? Are they structured for the versatile and differentiated learning opportunities that we want to bring in place, or are these things that we need to address? As Patton says, the planning process is rooted in reality. We can't talk about abstracts. We can't talk about ideals. We have to make sure these are things that we can get done. The development of the stakeholder survey will be the core planning team's responsibility. The survey will be a combination of forced choice questions and open-ended items. It will be short and manageable. This should be something that a survey taker could complete in 5 to 10 minutes. We want their voice, but we also want them to actually provide that in a way that is good for them. We will distribute these through our emails that are in the student information system. We will make sure that it is on social media posts throughout our various platforms. We will include a QR code on published materials so that people can engage with this. And then we will have phone blast notifications of both spoken word and through text, and these will be done in various languages. The data, so who receives it, if they received it, did they open it, and if they opened it, did they submit it, will be completed through the communications department, and we are hoping to reach staff, families, students, and the community at large. For our internal audit, we will look at the Baldrige framework. This is done by the school board, district leadership, the superintendent's cabinet, building principals, and then department leaders if they are not present on cabinet and need to be included. The Baldrige framework itself talks about leadership, where strong leaders set the vision and empower others. There is planning involved where clear goals are aligned to the mission so we can continuously improve. Customers, which are our students and families, and that we're providing them quality service. The workforce development, we're again supporting educator growth. We're providing them the professional developments necessary to do what they need to do. And then the results, we're tracking the outcomes and making sure that we're on point with the progress and holding ourselves accountable. The data analysis process, we are going to triangulate the data from the surveys, our audits of data for performance, and the environmental scan. We'll utilize a Pareto chart, which identifies areas of high need. This is also known as the 80-20 rule, where we can look at the highly weighted factors and work through them in a short time. As Alakiati says, we're saving our efforts and our necessary costs, but using this helps us to make sure that we're focused in the right areas that need the most focus and cause the most issues. We'll identify themes with student achievement. We'll give those categorical attention so we know those are where they need to be, but we'll also eliminate fringe contingents. So anything that seems like it doesn't fall into any categories, they won't be eliminated for good, but they will be put out of where we need those. So we're not getting too far into the weeds on every piece. And then we will use a Ishikawa fishbone. This will be during our parent and stakeholder discussions. These will help identify areas that are in the Pareto chart that we can work through and use these to maintain our focus and where we think we need things most. The mission, vision, and learning targets. Initial draft is completed by the core team. We want to make sure that we have an idea of what we're looking for before we start shopping it out. We will use the data that we collect and the surveys as the backbone and the driver for these. Once we have an agreed upon draft, we will conduct community forum meetings to review and revise. This is not just a verbiage issue, but also as a non-educator, do these components ring true to what you're seeing in the data that we present? But also, is it something that makes sense? Can you see where we're going with these things? And then ultimately, the final publication would be shared through all district platforms. Most the ones that were listed on the stakeholder survey. These will be posted. They will be out there. This is a step that also could happen in the deployment phase, but I did want to put it here so it was not left hanging. Strategy development. This occurs in stakeholder workshops. We want them to be involved, but with the core team representatives as facilitators. Uh, like I said, most people don't have a lot of time to spare. So when we give them, or when we get their time, we need to be focused and ready to utilize them as much as possible. The SWOT analysis will drive this process, what we find there. And then when we talk about how we select strategies and how we're working through them, they have to be rooted in data. We cannot just say that, you know, we think these things will be good because we think these things will be good. We have to make sure that they are something that has the data to support it within what we need, and as that, it must align with our goals and targets. So though, one of these opportunities may sound really great, if it doesn't align with what we need, it's not something that we're going to put our efforts into, because we don't have that kind of time to just play around. And then we maintain our priorities. We are research based. They are measurable actions. We know we can track it. We can make sure that we're doing what we need to do, and make sure that this doesn't conflict with whole child supports or any SEL standards. We do need to understand, and is something that I'm very big on, is that if we are not focused on the whole child, just on their academics, we're going to lose a lot. So though it may be what we believe is best practice to, you know, do lectures and just provide grades, we know that that doesn't support what all kids need. So we need to make sure that we are addressing those, and our plans have that in mind along with student achievement. The deployment of the plan, there's a detailed communication plan. So internal, the staff meetings, district and building briefings, newsletters, email blasts, those will come from the communications department. We have several mechanisms for putting those out. Externally, again, newsletters, social media postings, announcements during board meetings, and managing any other ways that we can make sure that people know what's going on. The department and school-based alignment, professional development opportunities, we need to make sure that we're providing our teachers and our staff everything that they need to have a successful rollout of the plans that we want. We were going to review the curriculums, make sure that what we're doing aligns with state standards, and then we would use district-wide content meetings to make sure that we're promoting best practices, and that the practices that are happening at one building are also the practices that are happening in another building, and that we can share and build a better understanding and a better toolbox, if you will, for how we can put these things in front of students and get the best bang for our buck. For building capacity, we will have aligned professional development goals. These professional development opportunities will be scaffolded to meet the teachers where they are. There will also be feedback surveys, one about the professional development itself, and then two about the effectiveness of the strategies and how they impacted instruction. There is a point to empower our teacher leaders and our content teams and our instructional coaches to make the decisions necessary to improve our student learning in the classrooms and in the buildings. We will monitor the implementation through professional learning communities. These PLCs will monitor the student progress using tools within the district dashboard that are easily accessible for all teachers and administrators and district leaders, so that we can collect the data when we need it. For assessment and accountability, we will have a balanced scorecard. This is to monitor progress, highlight successes, and identify the areas needing improvement. This is going to be a district template, so all buildings will have the same structure, but each building or department grade level will be able to put in their information. We will have quarterly data reviews. This will look at assessment data both as a performance measure and as a growth measure. We want to make sure that we assess both sides of this because growth is as important as the final product. This data will provide us with recommendations for adjustment. So where do we need to put more of our efforts, or where do we need to change our focus? There's an annual presentation to cabinet that will be done by the building principals from these balanced scorecards. It'll review the data that they have and then highlight the performances, but this has to be based in research and evidence. And the collaborative plan team for each building will address the areas of need. This will come again from the balanced scorecard and the data that we collect, and it will be not only each building's team, but also have members of the core planning team to assist in facilitation. To provide continuous improvement, we will use the PDAC cycle, so plan, identify opportunities for change. Then you test the change, you check and make sure that the data is there, and then you use what you learned, you act upon it. If it's a success, you broaden the reach. If you fail, you return to step one and you start a plan or revise the plan. This makes sure that the strategies are and continue to be relevant and responsive according to patent. Staff, students, families, and stakeholders will have a feedback mechanism. One will be immediate through the district website where they can access that and almost send a real-time text. And then the other will be quarterly surveys that will be sent out through Panorama. And finally, annual reviews for celebrations, adjustments, and any renovations that need to be done. In summary, the strategic planning model is driven by our stakeholders. We will only work with evidence-based material. We will focus on an alignment for learning outcomes to improve student learning. This is a continuous cycle of professional development where we are meeting teachers and staff where they are and providing them the learning that they need to be the most impactful they can. Our feedback cycles will be run quarterly and annually and be assessed, and that data will be collected. And finally, and most importantly, this is designed for transparency, a sense of accountability, and then we are hoping for the most optimum results, and those results will be focused on our students. This is a reference for the information that was gathered and used in this presentation. Again, thank you and have a good day.